Hey guys, welcome back to Hook with Anime. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Hapusu Judy. In a world where assassins lurked in the shadows, and all-out war could break out in an instant, some managed to stand up to the challenge, and became legends in their own right. That was the life of the ninja who live in Zootopia Gakir no Sado, the hidden village of Zootopia. That was the aspiration of one little rabbit that was tailing a suspicious figure. It was a fox. Such an animal in Zootopia was not uncommon because Zootopia is the ninja village that protects Kosaten no Kuni, the land of crossroads. The whole country as well as Zootopia itself was home to multiple animals traveling from other lands to migrate or to live. However, Hapusu Judy noticed the bottle of chloroform amongst his possessions while he was eating at her family's restaurant, and she suspected he was up to no good. Her hunch was correct because by the time it was dark, the fox had kidnapped the daughter of a wealthy merchant. Judy heard the sound of a muffled scream before it was silenced. The fox rushed out of the house with an unconscious cat under his arms. In the darkness, she saw the fox leap away and she chased him. Despite being a tiny rabbit kitten, Judy was exceptionally skilled at taijutsu for her age. With her powerful legs, she leapt from roof to roof, slipping through the gaps, sliding under obstacles, and managing to keep up with the fox. Every building in Zootopia was built out of wood and topped with shingles. The buildings all came in different sizes and shapes, and arranged into designated blocks for different species. Some were surrounded by walls and had built-in heating while others had refrigeration. Some had waterways, others were completely dry. Some were built close to the ground. Some were high up in the trees, and even some that were underground. All of them interconnected by massive roads to accommodate larger animals, and by smaller underground tunnels for tiny animals to get around. All of it designed for optimal living conditions for all the various animals living in Zootopia, and protected by a massive wall that surrounds the village. The fox was heading toward the wall, presumably planning to climb over it and escape. As Judy followed close behind, she made a mental note of all the important landmarks so she could find her way home. They passed the meeting hall near the center of government in the home of the Zookage, past the Bigu Casino, and past the Mystic Springs Oasis. Finally, after the fox left the downtown area, he entered the farmlands, stopping only for a rest near a river and surrounded by rice fields. He set the tied-up cat onto the ground. She was awake at that point, fighting to free herself from the ropes. Now was Judy's chance. She grabbed a child-sized kunai, and tossed it toward the fox before ducking into the bushes. "Ow! What the hell?" shouted the fox as he felt the knife graze his shoulder. He spun around to see Judy step out from behind the bushes. On edge and angry, the fox grabbed the kunai and held it up to Judy. If someone had jumped into this circumstance right then and there, it might have been comical to see. Here was a gruff and ratty-looking fox, his body covered in scars and his fur messed up. He wore baggy pants and a ripped white shirt as if he took his clothes from the garbage. His only weapon was a single kusarigama that was rusted and dull. With his pauper's appearance and his shaky and unrefined stance, he looked absolutely miserable and even scared of the tiny bunny challenging him. Judy was dressed in a blue full bodysuit, immaculately clean and well trimmed with her weapons pouch attached to her leg. She stood there with her legs far apart and her paws held up, ready to strike. "What do you want, rabbit?" asked the fox. "Return the woman you kidnapped," said Judy, firmly. The fox looked her up and down. "What is this? A joke? I am a ninja of Zootopia, and in the name of the land of crossroads, I demand that you release her." "Like hell I will." The fox threw the kunai at Judy, but she dodged out of the way. After withdrawing his weapon from its holster, the fox charged, holding the kusarigama in one paw and the chain connected to it in the other. He swung the weapon around, Judy managing to dodge the blade as he swung it at her. Taking her off guard, the fox swung the bladed end of the kusarigama while grasping the chain to extend its reach, and striking at Judy's side, but to his surprise, the blade harmlessly passed through Judy, and she vanished like mist. "A clone!" exclaimed the fox. He spun around, and saw the real Judy trying to cut the cat's ropes using a kunai. "Uh-oh!" exclaimed Judy as the fox charged toward her. Judy leapt aside as the fox swung his kusarigama at her. She immediately put her paws together and built up her chakra. The fox tripped up Judy with a chain, and while she wobbled on one hind leg, the fox swung his kusarigama and struck Judy in the side. At first, he thought he had dealt a deadly blow, but to his surprise, Judy disappeared in a puff of smoke, revealing his kusarigama embedded in a log. He was fooled by a body replacement technique. As he tried to pry the weapon out of the log, Judy was right behind him, managing to cut the cat free, and allowed her to get away. "No!" shouted the fox. He chased his prey, but Judy leapt into the air and kicked him in the abdomen. Directing his anger at Judy, he swung the chain and struck Judy in the leg, knocking her off her hind paws. Before he could continue chasing the cat, Judy stabbed a kunai into his leg. The fox let out a yelp of surprise and pain. "Oh, you don't know when to quit." He swung his claw and scratched Judy's cheek. "Ah!" Judy let out a scream as his claws left deep marks on her cheek. The fox knelt down and grabbed her by her head with one paw, raising his kusarigama high over Judy's face. "Who do you think you are?" asked the fox. "I am a ninja of Zootopia," shouted Judy. "A ninja?" mocked the fox. "When you meet your relatives in hell, tell them that you will never be anything other than a stupid carrot-farming dumb bunny." Suddenly, two sharp needles came flying through the air and embedded inside of the fox's neck. With his eyes wide with shock and pain, he toppled over, dropping his weapon onto the dirt. Judy turned around to see a goat and rhino, dressed in ninja garb, appearing from the darkness. The rhino looked down at Judy with stern eyes and said, "You are in trouble, young lady." The Hapusu Ramen Shop was a restaurant located in the downtown area of Zootopia. What started as a simple standing ramen shop grew to include a wide collection of different dishes for herbivores and carnivores. Inside were various tables for different sizes of animals, while the really large animals sat at the tables outside. All of the chefs, waiters, and dishwashers working there were all rabbits, and all of them were family. The owners of this restaurant, Hapusu Sutsu and his wife Hapusu Boni, were in the back, taking care of their rebellious daughter after she was taken home by a ninja. "Ow, Mom, that hurts," whined Judy as Boni put a rag soaked with iodine on her face. "What were you thinking, going after a dangerous criminal like that?" asked Boni. Sutsu stood over his daughter with a stern look on his face. "Judy-chan, I know you are the top student at the Ninja Academy, but that doesn't mean you should just go off on your own attacking criminals like that." "And the criminal was a fox, too," said Boni. "It's like we told you. As a rabbit, you need to be extra careful around predators, especially in the land of Crossroads where there are predators everywhere." "And foxes are the worst," said Sutsu. "If I see another fox, I will just distract him with another clone," said Judy, shoving away Boni's iodine-soaked rag, "because I'm going to be a ninja, maybe even the greatest ninja." "But sweetie, there are few rabbits who become ninja," said Boni. "And those who do become ninja wind up stuck in the genin rank throughout their career," said Sutsu. "There has never been a rabbit who has achieved Chunin rank." "Never," chimed in Boni. "Oh," said Judy. "I guess I'll be the first because I am the top student in my class. I will be the stealthiest of the stealthiest, the strongest of the strongest." Judy ducked behind a large mirror as if to emphasize how stealthy she was. "Because I will become a ninja," she stepped out from behind the mirror and spread out her arms in a childishly cute gesture, "and make the world a better place." "Well, being a ninja is such a hard life," said Sutsu. "Wouldn't you rather be a ramen chef? There's nothing wrong with serving a bowl of ramen to hungry customers." "He's right, Judy-chan," said Boni. "Or if you don't like ramen, you can prepare yakisoba, sushi, dumplings, natto." "That's right. There's a simple humility to serving up a meal to the other animals of Zootopia," said Sutsu. "Yes, there's nothing wrong with having dreams," said Boni. "So long as you don't believe in them too much," added Sutsu. He leaned over Judy and reached for her paw. "Come on, I can show you how fun it is to prepare natto." He grabbed her arm, but his paw passed right through her. What he thought was his daughter was actually her clone, and when he touched her, the clone vanished like smoke. Judy had ducked behind the mirror and sneaked away, leaving behind her clone to distract her parents. She made her way out of the building, her hind paws not making a single sound on the tatami mat. She got outside and climbed up to the roof. It was her favorite place to be when she needed to be alone, and it gave her a great view of the full moon. Looking up at the moon was serene. She would examine every crater and every dark spot, slowly making out the shape of the rabbit on the moon. It also reminded her of the moon god, Tsukuyomi, as well as the unused gift he parted on to the Hapusu clan. She remembered what the fox and her parents said to her. For a moment, she felt doubt in herself, knowing that the whole world and even her own parents were against her. However, upon seeing that moon, she reached out to it as if wanting to hold Tsukuyomi's paw. With a defiant smile on her face, Judy said, "The fox was right about one thing. I don't know when to quit." Chapter 2. The first Chunin ranked rabbit. This was the moment Judy had been waiting 15 years for. When her name was called out, she walked out of the hall and into the arena. Numerous animals from all corners of Zootopia and the surrounding lands had showed up to the Chunin exam. She passed a written test, then survived the Forest of Death, and finally, she was at the final stage, a tournament where the candidates get to show off their skills in front of the judges. Various representatives from different lands were there, all eager to see the skills the aspiring genin brought. However, for Judy, being a tiny rabbit, she did have some hecklers in the crowd shouting out boos and insults. She didn't care. She was more concerned with the fight ahead. She looked up at the stands, and amongst the various leaders of the local lands, she saw Zukage Ryanato waving and smiling down upon her. He was a large lion neatly groomed and wearing a black kimono as opposed to the red and white robes and hat the Zukage typically wears, looking more like a merchant than the leader of Zootopia. Even so, impressing him, more than anybody else, was Judy's ticket to becoming a Chunin, and her obstacle to beat was not a pushover. Her opponent was a rhino from the land of deserts. He was completely bare-chested, wearing only a loincloth, and holding two massive metal hammers in both hands. As a belt buckle, he wore a metal plate with his clan's symbol engraved on top. He was covered in scars and even had some teeth missing. This bulking behemoth of a ninja was a stark contrast to the appearance of Judy. Her outfit was kept flawlessly clean and her fur groomed from head to toe. She wore a dark blue full-body suit, and over the suit, she wore a dark green shielded vest with pockets for scrolls. Her weapons pouch was strapped to her right leg for easy reach. Her headband was wrapped around her forehead with the metal plate on the front. The symbol on the headband was a horizontally wide oval with 4 circles above it in the vague shape of a paw print. It was the symbol of Zootopia. With a mote of smug casualness, Judy said to the rhino, "I take it your name is Yuma of the Land of Deserts, am I correct?" "I am," said Yuma in a deep voice, "and you, tiny bunny, will be crushed." "I'll be the lady about this and let you go first," said Judy. "After all, I don't want this fight to end too soon." Yuma growled with anger. He raised his hammer and swung it at Judy. Her powerful legs launched her to the side, hopping out of the way of the hammers. All the while, she put her paws together. When Yuma smashed the ground, in the few seconds it took for him to regain his balance, Judy took her chance. Her paws flew in a flurry of motions, forming the hand seals for snake, ram, monkey, boar, horse, and tiger in order. Yuma raised his hammer, but Judy had already launched her attack. "Fire-style fireball technique," shouted Judy, her chakra manifesting into a massive fireball that launched from her mouth. Yuma let out a cry of alarm as the flames singed his tough hide. Angry, he put his forelegs together, and began forming hand seals. Judy did nothing to stop him, instead keeping on her toes, ready to dodge his attack. Using his chakra, Yuma erected a massive wall of earth around himself, and at the same time, magically upheaved the ground of the arena, causing rocks to fling around in all directions. Judy leapt through the air, expertly dodging around the flying debris. Her paws moved together again, creating a flurry of motion as she charged up her chakra. Using the momentum of a flying rock, she rode it and launched her up and over the earth barrier with the exposed top, and then she unleashed another fireball as she flew over. Yuma was prepared this time, managing to fold an earth shield to protect himself. Judy gracefully landed on top of this barrier. There were laughs from the audience, mocking Judy for how small she seemed compared to Yuma's massive earth barrier. Is that seriously the best you got? Shouted Judy over the crowd. Not wanting to be burned, Yuma built up his chakra again, this time spending even more of it. The whole stadium shook like there was an earthquake as more debris flew through the air. Once again, Judy dodged around the flying debris, effortlessly moving about. However, this time, the flying debris was now magnetically flying in Judy's direction instead of every which way. Judy tried to leap off of another clump of earth, but instead, she slipped and hit the ground. Although she landed on her feet, the rest of the earth swarmed around her, burying her alive. Earth-style earth tomb, shouted Yuma. With as much chakra as he could spare, he magically directed the earth to surround and harden around Judy, creating a shell around her that kept her from moving. By the time the spell was complete, Judy was completely contained inside of an earth prison. Yuma dropped some of the earth barrier around himself. He looked at the mound where Judy was buried in, and grinned with glee. However, before the referee could call the fight, there was a sudden rumble. The shell began to crack, and bolts of electricity spewed from each crack. The earth tomb suddenly erupted, and Judy leapt out with electricity sparking from her fingers. Before Yuma could react, Judy plunged her electrified finger through Yuma's earth shield, shattering it to pieces. Yuma convulsed as electricity ran through his body, and the force of it knocked him onto his back, causing the earth shield to crumble around him. As the air became choked with dust, Judy climbed onto Yuma's chest, her fingers still crackling with electricity. Impressed, said Judy with a smile. This is a new move I developed called the Chidori. It allows me to quickly stab someone like a lightning bolt. But how? Demanded Yuma. How did a tiny bunny break my earth tomb? Simple. I gathered as much intel on my opponents as I could, said Judy. I am well aware of your fighting style, Yuma. You tend to be a glass cannon, spending all of your chakra at once on massive earth-based attacks. I was leading you on, attacking you so that you would be forced to spend chakra to defend yourself as well as use up your reserve to encase me in your earth tomb. Then once your guard was down, I would strike. But how did you break the tomb? Demanded Yuma. Earth ninjutsu is weaker against electricity ninjutsu, said Judy. All I had to do was save my trump card till you dropped your guard, then blast my way through your defense, and now this fight is over. I have plenty of chakra to send my Chidori into your chest. In seconds, the electricity will stop your heart, and you'll be dead. Your only way out of this is to surrender. Yuma eyed the electrical tip of Judy's fingers, and he quickly realized he was stuck. He had never been pinned before, and thus never learned any escape artist moves. His chakra was almost gone, and he had nothing left to counter. With reluctance and shame, he said, I surrender. The winner is Hapusu Judy-san, shouted the referee. As Judy deactivated her Chidori, there were cheers of excitement mixed with groans of annoyance. None of them thought they would see the day when a rabbit could outwit a rhino, and yet here was Judy, standing on the rhino's chest, victorious. Judy had never felt such pride. When Judy earned the rank of Chunin, Ryonato couldn't help but put on a show for the crowd. He stood up on the stage overlooking a crowd of reporters behind a podium. With a wide smile that shows off his sharp teeth, he addressed the crowd. Fellow mammals, we are witnessing a momentous occasion in history, he said. It's like I've said, anybody can become a ninja in Zootopia, and thanks to my mammal inclusion initiative, we have our very first rabbit to achieve Chunin rank. Judy stood to Ryonato's right side, giving the crowd a wide smile. To Ryonato's left side was a tiny sheep, the first one to achieve the rank of Jonin, and not too long ago, Ryonato presented her when she achieved the rank. Her name was Sendo Dan, a sheep who wore wide-rimmed glasses and an orange wool kimono for the occasion. Ryonato continued showboating for the crowd, barely acknowledging the two unique animals beside him because, as usual, this was about bolstering himself by reminding the crowd of his accomplishments. As Ryonato talked, Sendo looked at Judy from the other side of Ryonato, and gave her a friendly thumbs up. Judy smiled back, appreciating the encouragement. Suddenly, Ryonato got up beside Judy, blocking her view of Sendo. Now Hapusu-san, show us some teeth, said Ryonato. Judy gave the crowd an awkward smile. Thank you all for your support. As a Chunin, you all have my word that I will. Yes, yes. Good for you, said Ryan unenthusiastically. With a wide smile on his face, he turned to the crowd and said to the press, "Now, I would like to announce my further plans to increase diversity." Judy had to suppress a wince of annoyance. She was well aware of Ryan's penchant to draw the spotlight upon himself. Not wanting to be another prop to stroke his ego, Judy looked to Sendo for help, and Sendo was already planning ahead. She snuck up behind the podium, making hand seals with her hooves. All species of animals had to accommodate the limitations of their limbs to make hand seals. For example, hooved animals like Sendo can make hand seals like an animal with paws, but because she had fewer fingers, the signs were noticeably simplified. Judy knew enough about hoof-based hand seals to tell that Sendo was making the combination used to cast the shadow clone technique. Although Judy can't make shadow clones herself, she knew Sendo could. Realizing what she was up to, Judy slyly scooted to the side until she was right behind the podium. Once the two of them were out of sight of the crowd, Sendo quickly created two shadow clones of herself, one of which transformed to resemble Judy. Both clones went out onto the stage, giving Sendo and Judy a chance to slip away. Ryan and the audience were none the wiser. The two of them went out onto the street and ducked into an alley. "Finally, we got out of there," said Sendo with a sigh of relief. "I hate it when he talks about himself like that, especially when the press conference isn't about himself in the first place." "Yeah," agreed Judy. "If I heard one more minute of Ryan-sama aggrandizing his reputation, I would have burst." Sendo brushed herself off and bowed to Judy. "As assistant Zookage, I say congratulations. You did good out there, Judy." Judy had known the Sendo clan through her own family's connections to them, and as such, she was one of the few mammals who knew how to pronounce the Sendo family's original name. "It's an honor to be here, Bellwether Dan," said Judy, informally dropping the titles like Sendo did for her. "Although, while I appreciate your compliments as assistant Zookage, I would also like to hear it as my best friend." Sendo spread out her arms, and gave Judy a firm hug. "I knew you could do it," said Sendo. With a bashful smile of pride, she added, "You know, it's a big day for us little guys. I know you will be a big inspiration for the other animals of Zootopia. I won't let you down. That's good because us little guys need to stick together." "Like Nato," said Judy. Sendo laughed. "Good one. Just the kind of humor I would expect from a restaurant rabbit. Oh yeah, speaking of restaurants, I need to plan where Ryan-sama is going to have his dinner date." "With whom?" "The ambassadors from the land of archipelagos, you know, a diplomatic date." "Oh. I gotta go. Bye. See you later, Dan," said Judy, waving as the little sheep ran off. She looked up to see the sky turning orange with the sunset. "Right now, I have a date with a shower and a bed." The next day, Judy went to the mission assignment desk with a gleeful smile on her face and a paper bag in her paw. The building was large enough to allow an elephant inside, and the room's only furniture was a large desk and chairs. Also, metal filing cabinets where missions were stored sat in rows behind the desk. The only animal sitting behind the desk was a fat cheetah, happily shoving bite-sized varieties of wagashi from an extra-large bento box, and drinking green tea from a clay mug. He wore a loose-fitting red kimono, too fat to wear a more standard ninja outfit. Judy knew him as Kurahasa. Although he typically spends his days getting fatter at the desk rather than going on missions, he was Judy's closest companion ever since she became a genin. Judy approached the big cat and with a cheerful voice, she said, "Kurahasa-kun, what have you been up to?" "Hapusu-san." "Oh, I should probably be calling you Hapusu-senpai now." "You can call me whatever you want, Kurahasa-kun. By the way, I picked these up from a vendor on the way over here." Judy handed the bag to Kurahasa, who happily opened it. "Seita ondagi," said Kurahasa, excited. He picked up one of the fried donuts and ate it. I haven't eaten these since I was a cub." "There's a vendor from the land of jungles," said Judy. "I bumped into him on the way over here." "Thank you so much. I take it you're here for your first B-rank mission." As if on cue, a massive water buffalo entered the room. "Stop right there, Kurahasa Kahai." Judy looked up at the visitor. maintaining a stern face both out of respect and to hide her annoyance. The buffalo was a Jonin-ranked ninja named Bogo. He was a massive bovine wearing a blue one-piece suit with bandages wrapped around his arms and legs. He wore his headband around his waist like a belt buckle because the horns got in the way if he tied it around his forehead. Although the mission assignment desk was typically run by the Zookage, Ryanato tended to be absent, preferring to handle the political side of the job over the military side of it. Instead, Bogo ran the desk. "Good morning, Bogo-senpai," said Judy. "Good morning, Hapusu Kahai," said Bogo, nonchalantly. "What is it you want?" "I don't know if you've heard, but I've earned the rank of Chunin yesterday," said Judy. "I heard. I just don't care. Well, now that I'm a Chunin, I'm finally eligible for B-ranked missions." "Is that so?" said Bogo, not even looking at Judy. "Well, if that's what you want, then let's see what we have." Kurahasa scooted aside as Bogo approached the filing cabinets. He opened it and looked inside, sifting through the manila folders until he found what he was looking for. He pulled it out. "Here we go, your first assignment." Judy stood up proud and tall, eagerly awaiting her first B-ranked mission. "Genin duty," said Bogo. Judy looked stunned. "Genin duty?" "Yes, you will be mentoring Team 4, a brand new cell who just graduated from the academy," said Bogo. "Their Jonin mentor is currently recovering in the hospital, and you will act as their substitute in the meantime." "Hold on," said Judy. "I was hoping for something more, meaningful." "Educating younger generations is a noble profession," said Bogo. "I'm sure it is," said Judy. "I just hoped that. I've trained hard for something more challenging. Then handling Team 4 will be no problem. You'll be meeting them today at noon, and I don't want to hear another complaint from you." Two large wolves came into the room, and Bogo immediately turned his attention to them. Meanwhile, Judy stomped her hind paw with anger. She looked to Kurahasa, who could only stare back in apology. "I'm sorry," he said. "No, it's all right," said Judy. "If Bogo-senpai wants me to mentor some kids, I can do it. After all, I have 275 brothers and sisters. How hard could 3 kids be?" Chapter 3. Meet Team 4. Judy first met Team 4 at the 3rd training ground, and immediately, she found herself feeling bashful meeting a trio of kids for the first time. Team 4 consisted of a badger who was nervously looking around in all directions, a gray rabbit who just sat there with his arms folded and a deadpan expression on his face, and an Arctic fox who was so excited, she couldn't sit still in her seat. Each one of them wore their Zootopia headbands around their foreheads. "Well," said Judy, nervously squirming in her seat. "Thank you all for coming. My name is Hapusu Judy and I will be your substitute mentor. How about you 3 introduce yourselves? Starting with you." Judy pointed to the badger. "Tell me about yourself." The badger was dressed in a sleeveless camouflage shirt and beige pants. Her fur was disheveled, including the white stripe along her head, tail, and back on top of a black coat. Combine that with her asymmetrical eyes, and she looked like a crazy skunk. Over her clothes was a bandolier covered in pouches. She was twitching in her seat, clearly uncomfortable with being there. Are you okay?" asked Judy. "Are you sure they're not listening in on us?" asked the badger. "Who is?" "The sheep. They're spying on us all the time." Judy looked at this strange badger. "But if the sheep are spying on us all the time, then surely they already know who you are, so what's the harm in saying your name out loud?" I guess not," said the badger, looking around as if expecting to spy a sheep in the clouds. "My name is Baha Ani." "Good. Ani-chan, what do you do in your spare time?" "I spend my time investigating the sheep, coming up with conspiracy theories to explain how they're pulling the strings behind the scenes." Anything else?" I also spend time perfecting my tin-foil hats." The rabbit rolled his eyes. "Paranoid loon." "Loons don't live in Zootopia," said Ani. "They live with other birds further west." "That's not what I—" "Oh, never mind." The rabbit was now impatiently tapping his hind paw. He was gray in color like Judy, but he had unusual black tiger stripes on the back of his head, and he had cool blue eyes. He wore a dark blue ninja suit with a camouflage backpack. "So, Why don't you tell us more about yourself, said Judy to the rabbit. Like what? He said. Well, first give me your name and just tell me about yourself like. You know. Your favorite things, your hated things, your dreams, your ambitions, your hobbies, things like that. My name is Sabeji Jaku, said the rabbit. I don't feel like telling you my likes and dislikes. My dreams for the future are none of your business. I have lots of hobbies. And that's it. Judy gawked at Jaku. Okay. Well anyway, lastly, I would like to hear from. To Judy's surprise, the fox girl was no longer in her seat. She looked around, and to sow her surprise, the fox was right beside her with a wide smile on her face, showing off her sharp canines. Having a fox sneak up on Judy was so shocking that her ears stood up with surprise, and her nose twitched rapidly. Oh geez, shouted Judy. I'm so sorry, said the fox. I didn't mean to scare you. My name's Sukai, and I'm so excited to be mentored by you. To Judy's surprise and shame, she noticed she had unconsciously grabbed one of her kunai knife. She slyly shoved the knife back into her weapon's pouch, and she faced her student. Sukai was unusually dressed for a ninja. In fact, at first glance, she looked more like a plumber. She wore blue overalls and a turquoise shirt with tools and weapons in her pockets. She had light blue eyes and was covered in snow-white fur. Well, it's good to meet you too, Sukai-chan, said Judy. Sukai let out a loud squeal of joy. Ooh, sensei just called me by my name. I could die happy here. That won't be necessary, said Judy. Please get back to your seat. Yes, of course. Sukai happily sat down with the others. Now that intros are out of the way, said Judy, I have a D-ranked mission for everybody. Oh come on, not another D-ranked mission, said Jaku. Hey, work is work, said Judy. She got out a manila folder and removed a stack of posters from it. She held up the posters so everybody could see it. On the front was a picture of the pop star Gaizuru as well as hiragana explaining the upcoming concert. We're going to hang up posters? Asked Ani. Good idea. The sheep won't be able to track us as easily if we split up around the village. Of course, said Judy, uncertain as to how else to respond. Gaizuru-san's concert is in 2 days, so we're going to hang up these posters around to get as many mammals to see it as possible. She split up the posters into 4 stacks and gave them to each of the kids as well as a stack for herself. Ani, you get the south end. Jaku, you get the west end. Sukai, you get the north end. And I will get the east end. We'll meet at the Jumbo's Cafe in an hour. Any questions? What if something goes wrong and we need to contact you? Asked Ani. We're just hanging posters, said Judy with a smile. What could possibly go wrong? Judy found herself at the home of an angry raccoon dog with a shattered Shisa statue on his front lawn and Ani looking sheepish nearby. Ani-chan. What happened? Asked Judy. I thought the statue was a sheep so I just threw an explosive tag at it, said Ani. She nearly set my house on fire, shouted the raccoon dog. Is this the kind of freaks getting allowed to become ninja? Ani looked like she was on the verge of tears. Look, I'm sorry this happened, said Judy. She pulled out her wallet and withdrew 4,000 yen. Here, I know it's not much, but it should at least cover the damage to the lawn. The raccoon dog gazed at her for a few seconds before taking the money. That statue was old and crumbling anyway. He walked off back into his house. I'm so sorry, said Ani. I think I have enough money to pay you back. We'll talk about it later, said Judy. For now, maybe you should leave your explosive tags at home. That shouldn't be hard because that was my last one. Oh, Judy winced at the implications, then let's get going. When they met up at the Jumbo's Cafe, Jaku was already there eating an ice cream cone, and with the posters still in his paws. Jaku-kun. Why do you still have posters with you? Asked Judy. I got bored so I figured it was enough, said Jaku. Judy took the posters from his paws and counted them. I gave you 10 posters, and there are 7 right here. You call that enough? What? I put the 3 in the most public places I could think of. That should be enough. Judy rubbed her forehead as she felt a migraine coming on. Where's Sukai-chan? She was here a minute ago, said Jaku, before shoving the last of the ice cream cone into his mouth. Judy perked up her ears, and heard Sukai's voice around the corner. She went around the corner with Jaku and Ani close behind her. Sure enough, Sukai was at a street corner with an old fox. "Sukai-chan, what are you doing here?" asked Judy. "Sorry, sensei," said Sukai. "I was just listening to this old fox's stories." Judy looked to the old fox. He was a red fox, his fur disheveled and graying from age. He wore an old and worn-out yukata. His body was wizened with bones sticking out from under his skin. He was sitting in a chair with several baskets on the ground. Each basket contained small bottles filled with a green liquid. He looked up at Judy, revealing jade-green eyes that were sunken in. "Hello there," said the fox through a strained and croaked voice. "Sorry, my eyes are not what they used to be. Are you a ninja?" "Yes," answered Judy. "And are these children your cadets?" "Yes, I am the mentor to these genin." "Oh, thank goodness, I need your help." The old fox grabbed his cane and slowly tried to stand up. Sukai bent over to help him up. "Thank you, sweetheart," said the old fox. "I can use the help of some young genin." "What can we do for you?" asked Judy. "Do you see the bottles? They are my all-natural energy drinks. Made them myself. However, a lot of my family is either dead or living outside of Zootopia. I have nobody to help me sell my wares." "Oh, you poor thing," said Judy. "If you want genin to help you, then why didn't you go to the mission assignment desk?" "I don't have enough money to afford it," said the elderly fox, letting out a cough. "Selling these energy drinks is all I have left to live on. But, if you young lads were to help me, I would be able to afford food." He let out another cough, louder and deeper than before. "If you don't want to help, I understand. I'm sure you have more important things to do than help an old man with one paw in the grave already." "Of course we will help you," said Judy. Sensei, could you come over here?" said Jaku. "Please give us a minute," said Judy. She and the genin gathered in a circle. "I don't like this," said Jaku. "There is something fishy about this fox, I just know it." "You're just being paranoid," said Sukai. "He's just a harmless old fox." "Old or not, he's still a fox," said Jaku. "Now you're just being a bigot," said Ani. "This coming from a honey badger who thinks sheep are out to get her," said Jaku. "Even so, Ani-chan is right," said Judy. "It's such a shame to see a kid like you having such a backwards attitude toward foxes." "Yeah," chimed Sukai. "I'm with Sensei. We should help the old man." "I agree," said Ani. "Then it's settled," said Judy. Jaku let out a groan of annoyance, but objected no further as he and his teammates approached the old fox. "We would be happy to sell your energy drinks," said Judy. "Bless you all," said the fox. "How can I ever repay you?" "Oh, it's our treat," said Judy. "We're just happy to help the elderly." Jaku scoffed. "Bless you. What is your name?" said the fox. "My name is Hapusu Judy. My team is named Ani-chan, Jaku-kun, and Sukai-chan." "My name is Wairudo Niku," said the elderly fox. "All I need you to do is just take these baskets around town and sell my drinks. They are only 500 yen each." "We'll have all of these drinks sold before the day is out," said Judy. "I trust you will," said Niku with a sly grin. By the time the sky grew red from the setting sun, the baskets were all empty, and the team was on their way to rejoin Niku. "Well, I can't believe we were able to sell all those drinks," said Sukai. "And I didn't blow anything up this time," said Ani. "This is a waste of time," said Jaku. "I'm telling you, there is something fishy about that fox." "This again," said Judy. "Look, if you're really that suspicious of Niku-san, then how about after we give him the money and his baskets back, and we follow him? If we don't see anything suspicious, then I want you to drop it." "Okay, fine," said Jaku. They went down the streets to find Niku where they left him. "We're back, Grandpa," said Sukai. "Oh, you're back." Niku pulled himself up off of the chair. "How did it go?" "We got all of the bottles sold for you," said Ani. "And here's all the money we got," said Judy, giving him a wad of money. "Thank you so much," said Niku, taking the money. It's so good to see kids these days helping out. I might have some cookies on me, assuming I didn't devour them already. Oh, that's okay, said Judy. It was our pleasure. It's such a shame that people have such a backwards attitude about foxes. Judy shot a brief disapproving glance in Jakku's direction, and he only responded with a defiant huff. I just want to say that you are a great guy and a real articulate fella. Oh, you are so kind, said Niku. It's so nice to meet someone who's not patronizing. Now, if you would please excuse me, I must be on my way. Of course, we're glad to help, said Judy. The group split up, going their own separate ways. However, as soon as Judy and Team 4 were out of the way, they immediately turned around to tail Niku. Niku made his way along the sidewalks, seemingly unaware of Judy and the genin following close behind. They kept their distance, watching for any sign of suspicious behavior. Niku headed to a small cobblestone bridge over a tiny river. Why is he living here? Asked Ani. He must be poor, said Sukai. So sad. I think we've seen enough, said Judy. We should probably. Suddenly, Niku tossed his cane aside. He laughed to himself in a high-pitched laugh that contradicted his elderly appearance. There was a puff of smoke, and when it evaporated, it was revealed that Niku was not an old man at all, but a middle-aged fox. Instead of the dirty old yukata, he was dressed in beige pants and a lime green happy decorated in leaf patterns. Rather than wearing a ninja headband, he instead had the symbol of Zootopia embroidered on the back of his happy. He held the money in his paw and stuffed it into his wallet with a wide grin on his face. See, I told you there was something off about that guy, said Jakku. Judy felt her cheeks growing red as she realized she had been conned with a ninja's transformation technique. Chapter 4. Sly Fox vs. Dumb Bunny. Judy's nose twitched with fright upon seeing Niku show his true form. That fox had ninja abilities the whole time, said Sukai, stunned. I feel used, said Ani. I say we attack him now, said Jakku. No, said Judy. He may be outnumbered, but we don't know what his abilities are. We need to be stealthy. After counting and pocketing the money, Niku walked underneath the bridge, whistling as he went. As soon as he was out of sight, Judy silently signaled the genin to follow her. They approached the bridge, hearing Niku's whistles while they got close. They got onto the bridge, standing above Niku as he emerged out of the other side. With another hand signal from Judy, the genin leapt off of the bridge and pounced on top of Niku, holding him down with their combined body weight. Judy leapt down and landed on the ground in front of Niku. Wairudo-san, you have some explaining to do, said Judy. Niku laughed, unbothered by the genin that held him down. So I may have exaggerated my age a little. Judy squat down to get closer to his eye level. You cheated the ninja of Zootopia out of free labor. Well, it's your fault for being so gullible. This isn't a joke. Do you really think you can get away with crossing a ninja? Are you a ninja? All I see is just a cute little bunny. Both Judy and Jakku winced out of annoyance. Judy knelt down and grabbed Niku by his ear. Ow ow, said Niku. Listen here, Fox, said Judy, you are not in a position to talk your way out of this. Usually, you would be right, said Niku. Unfortunately for you, I'm just the distraction. Suddenly, Niku disappeared in a puff of smoke. The genin gawked in surprise as they suddenly found themselves holding down nothing. What? Exclaimed Ani. That was a shadow clone. Judy looked at the spot where the clone used to be with alarm. This is more serious than I thought. Only a Jonin-level ninja can create shadow clones. Still, we can't lose him. Everybody, get on all fours and sniff out his trail. He's not getting away that easily. They were able to trace Niku's scent away from the bridge and heading south. It seemed while the clone distracted Judy, the real Niku snuck out in the opposite direction. They followed his trail all the way to the Hapusu restaurant. With the sun setting, it was dinner time, and like usual, the restaurant was extra busy. Judy and Team 4 swerved around the feet of elephants sitting on the giant tables as they made a beeline to the front windows. Judy peered inside, and saw Niku at the front counter eating a bowl of ramen. What should we do now? Asked Sukai. I say we confront him, said Judy. Is that wise, sensei? asked Sukai. He tricked us twice today. Yes, but this time, he's in my family restaurant. He won't be able to do much in there. Just follow me and make sure he doesn't try to sneak away. They went inside of the restaurant, now noisy with the sounds of animals eating and talking. Niku casually ate like he didn't notice the four ninja approaching. Wairudo Niku-san, we need to talk, said Judy. Can't it wait until I'm done eating? Said Niku before drinking tea from a glass cup. Blueberries were gathered at the bottom of his glass. You owe us 15,000 yen for the work we did for you, said Judy. Niku slurped up more noodles from his bowl. But you said that you would do it for free. That was before we knew the truth about you, said Judy. You lied to us. Do you have it in writing? Asked Niku, picking a blueberry out of his cup and eating it. Well, Judy hadn't thought of that. No, but we have our word. And I'm sure the word of a rabbit is going to hold up in court, said Niku, slurping up more noodles. What does that have to do with Judy-chan? Judy noticed her mother and father approach. Oh. Hi mom, hi dad. Good evening, Judy-chan, said Sutsu. It's a pleasant surprise to see you here. We thought you would be off on your first mission by now, said Boni. Speaking of which, how's your first day as a Chunin going? You're not doing anything too dangerous, are you? Well, no, said Judy, flustered, but I'm really making a difference for Zootopia. How about you take a seat, said Sutsu. We could serve up some bowls of noodles for you and your friends to celebrate you becoming a Chunin. No thank you, we got important work to do, said Judy. The genin politely bowed to Sutsu and Boni. We thank you for your offer, said Sukai. It's an honor to be meeting Sensei's parents. Sensei? Said Boni. Judy-chan, are you mentoring these genin? Judy exclaimed. Yes, but it's only temporary. That's the safest job on the force, said Boni, excited. She's not a real ninja, cheered Sutsu. Glorious day. Mom. Dad, not in front of the genin, said Judy, annoyed. Niku was trying not to choke on his food while laughing. Oh right, we will leave you be, said Boni. Yes, go train the next generation, said Sutsu. The two went back into the kitchen. Judy felt so embarrassed she covered her face from a family of opossums who were watching her from their table. Look at you, said Niku, a big bad ninja stuck being a school teacher. Hey, we are not done here, said Judy. Niku got out 1,300 yen and placed it on the counter. Sorry, I would love to stay and chat, but I must go. Niku casually left the restaurant with Judy and the genin following him out the door. We are not leaving until we get our money, said Judy, and if you won't pay, we are placing you under arrest. You want your money? Said Niku. He put his paws together in a hand seal. Instantly, 3 clones appeared in a puff of smoke. You'll have to catch me first. Niku and the clones immediately sprinted off into 4 different directions. After him, shouted Judy. The party split up, pursuing different targets. Jaku followed Niku down one of the alleyways in between a sweet shop and a clothing store. As soon as Jaku turned a corner, Niku disappeared. Jaku saw nothing but trash cans and dumpsters as well as the wooden walls of the surrounding buildings, leaving no way of escaping quickly. Jaku's ears swerved around, listening intently for any sign of noise. I'm not letting a fox get away, said Jaku under his breath. He put his paws together and quietly meditated. He wasn't what some would describe as a talented ninja, but he did have some tricks up his sleeve. And from his backpack, he had to concentrate, building up his strength through sheer force of will. His fur began to stand on end while chakra swirled around his skin. He clenched his teeth in a grin of exertion. All over, he could feel his strength increase as he unlocked the gate of opening. Taking advantage of his temporary boost in strength, he kicked the side of the dumpsters, exerting so much strength that he put a dent into it. It rolled into the trash cans, knocking them down and revealing Niku hiding from behind. Oh crud! Exclaimed Niku. He tried to run, but with Jaku's enhanced speed and strength, he easily caught up. Jaku pulled out a glass jar filled with caltrops from his backpack. Using his powerful legs and his sharp claws, he ran up the side of the wall, and while he was off the ground, he tossed the jar and shattered, sending caltrops flying outward into a small pile. Niku stepped onto a caltrop. Ow, geez. Jaku tackled him, knocking him onto the ground with so much force, the concrete cracked and blood squirted from Niku's gasping breath. Ha ha, said Jaku, satisfied. I got you. Wrong, said Niku before disappearing into a puff of smoke. Oh come on. Oh no. Jaku keeled over. The effects of unlocking the gate of opening were wearing off, and the after effects were kicking in. He got on all fours and vomited onto the ground. Ani followed Niku into a neighborhood of tiny houses for mice. The residences scattered in all directions as Niku stomped through the limited space between the tiny buildings. Ani was neither the fastest nor the most agile ninja, but she did have good chakra control, particularly when it came to genjutsu. Rather than immediately following Niku inside, she ducked behind one of the mouse buildings and put her paws together. Meanwhile, Niku weaved between the tiny buildings, leaving the rodents to cry out and scream. He turned a corner to see a dead end leading to the side of a larger building. He looked toward another corner, only to find another dead end. He then turned a third corner, this time leading to a clear path into an alleyway. He bolted toward the exit, running at full speed toward his escape. He grinned with delight, however, as soon as he reached the exit, it suddenly vanished, revealing a wall. Niku had fallen for Ani's illusion. He collided against the wall with a hard thud. Before he could shake off the shock and course correct, Ani appeared behind him with a kunai in one paw. I have you now, shouted Ani. Do you? Asked Niku. He suddenly vanished into a puff of smoke. He was another clone. Oh crud, said Ani, disappointed. Sukai used her strong sense of smell to track Niku back to the bridge. As soon as he saw her, he bolted toward the bridge. Seeing the water under the bridge, Sukai had an idea. She pulled out a kunai and channeled her chakra into it. She directed her energies over the blade, compressing the air itself around it. With this compression, she was able to increase the speed and power of her kunai. Niku tried to run up and over the bridge, but before he could make it all the way, Sukai's kunai whooshed past Niku's nose. Dodging out of the way, he leapt off the bridge and into the water, intending to duck under the bridge to avoid more kunai. However, as soon as he was in the water, he had already fallen into Sukai's trap. She splashed both paws into the river and channeled her chakra into it. In seconds, the water immediately froze solid. What the? Said Niku, watching as his hind paws froze in place in a block of ice. He tried to pull free, but the ice was too thick. I gotcha, said Sukai with a wide smile of sharp teeth. Sorry, the princess is in another castle, said Niku, and in an instant, he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Another clone? Said Sukai, angry. Ooh, hash. Judy followed Niku out of the downtown area and into the third training ground. She wound up in the woods where Niku disappeared into the trees. Judy's ears swerved from side to side, listening for any movements from Niku, but could only hear the sound of crickets chirping in the night. She closed her eyes, allowing the wind to whoosh by her face. Normally when a rabbit listens so intently, she is listening for predators. Instead, she was the predator hunting a fox. She put her paws together, channeling her chakra for an attack. Every muscle in her body tensed, waiting for the moment to strike. Snap. Electricity generated from her fingertips as she activated her Chidori. Her powerful legs launched her in the direction of the sound. The world around her blurred as she barreled forward and struck her target like a lightning bolt. There was the crackle of electricity followed by the sound of wood erupting into flames. By the time the attack was done, she realized she struck the side of a tree, singing a round black hole in it. Judy heard a clapping sound. She turned around to see Niku step out from behind the tree, slowly clapping. That's a powerful move you got there, said Niku, but you move so fast, you can't even see where you're going. You don't know me, shout Judy. On the contrary, said Niku. I know everybody in Zootopia, and I especially know you, Hapusu Judy-san, the first rabbit to achieve the rank of Chunin. Tell me if you've heard this story before. You're some rabbit from humble beginnings whose parents don't approve of you becoming a ninja, but you push on, get good grades, thinking that if you work to earn respect, then other animals will welcome you with open arms. However, now that you've achieved your dreams, you are still treated like a cute little bunny whom nobody has faith in, and no amount of ranks will ever change that. Judy could feel her anger rising. Hey, I don't need life advice from someone who never tried to be anything other than an energy drink hustler. With a sly smile on his face, Niku knelt down to Judy's eye level. Look, everybody comes to the land of crossroads, thinking that anyone can be anything, but you can't. You can only be what you are. Sly fox, dumb bunny. I am not a dumb bunny, said Judy. Is that so? Well then, let me show you what a sly fox can do. With both paws, Niku put his forefinger and middle fingers together and put both fingers together into the shape of a cross. Multiple shadow clone technique. In an instant and right before Judy's eyes, she found herself surrounded on all sides by an entire mob of Niku's shadow clones. What? Judy spun around in shock. Everywhere she looked, Niku surrounded her. There were at least 20 of them, possibly even far more, all of them staring at Judy with a wide grin on their collective faces. The clones then put their paws together to form another hand seal. Judy grabbed one of her kunai, holding it up to the clones, expecting them to attack her with some kind of collective move. There was a puff of smoke obscuring the clones. Judy watched, her kunai raised, her legs spread out, ready to leap out of the way of whatever Niku threw at her. However, when the smoke cleared, what she saw was an entire group of naked rabbits. Feel the wrath of my reverse harem technique, shouted the clones in unison. All of the rabbits were males covered in red fox fur and built like a model. Every curve of their muscular bodies was fully visible, flexing and posing in provocative gestures. What kind of childish technique is this? Shouted Judy, feeling the growing heat and pressure. The bucks all swarmed around Judy, pressing up against her in a group hug. She was paralyzed by a combination of embarrassment and hot-bloodedness. She grabbed her nose, but it wasn't enough to hold it back. No! Screamed Judy as she was knocked backward by a massive projectile nosebleed that sent her hurtling to the ground and landing with a thud. The clones all disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving Judy unconscious, too dizzy from passion to move. Niku casually walked past her, and as he did, he said to her, "You will never be a real ninja." Sensei. Sensei, wake up. Judy let out a groan as she opened her eyes to see Sukai leaning over her. She sat up to see Ani and Jaku nearby. What happened to Niku-san? Asked Jaku. He got away, groaned Judy. He must have snuck up on you if he was able to knock you out like that, said Sukai. Judy sheepishly looked aside. She hastily wiped the blood from her nose and said, "Yeah. That's what happened." "We should give chase," said Jaku. "That fox won't get away from us." "Let him go," said Judy. "Sensei?" asked Sukai. "It's late," said Judy. "We should go home and get some rest." Okay. Sensei, said Ani. "Tomorrow, we'll meet back at the same place to finish putting up the posters," said Judy. "You're all dismissed." "Okay," said Sukai. "Good night." The genin went home, leaving Judy alone. She looked up at the night sky above and saw the waxing moon overhead. Normally, looking up at that moon gave her hope and vigor, but right now, she felt nothing but exhaustion and misery. Chapter 5. Enter the ninja of wetlands and caves. While the genin stood outside of the doors to the mission assignment desk, Judy approached Kurahasa with paperwork in her paws. "Hey, Kurahasa-kun," said Judy. "We put up the posters. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you sooner." "Not a problem," said Kurahasa. "I'll just collect your paperwork, and I'll find you another D-ranked mission." "Before you do, there's something I need to ask," said Judy. "You know every ninja in Zootopia. Do you know anything about a fox named Wairudo Niku-san?" "Did you say Wairudo?" asked Kurahasa. "That's strange." "Why?" "I thought the Wairudo clan died out years ago. All I know about them is that the clan was made up of foxes, and allegedly, they had unusual powers." "Like what?" Kurahasa looked around as if afraid someone could hear. The only other animal in the room was Bogo, but he wasn't paying attention. He was wearing headphones and happily listening to a Gazaru CD. "I've heard legends about the Wairudo clan," said Kurahasa. Mostly stories of how the god Inari-sama, impressed with the craftiness of the Wairudo clan, blessed the clan with extraordinary amounts of chakra. Judy remembered how Niku was able to create dozens of shadow clones with ease. I don't understand. If this clan is so powerful, then why have I not heard of them? Very few foxes manage to become ninja, and the few that do, just spend their whole careers as genin, said Kurahasa. The Wairudo clan suffered the same fate in spite of their powers, not too dissimilar to what happened to the Hapusu clan. Except the Hapusu clan survived by becoming farmers and cooks instead, while the foxes of the Wairudo clan were slowly killed off by violence, starvation, or misfortune. That's horrible, said Judy. The Wairudo clan was so gifted, but it didn't have a chance to show it. Speaking of gifts, said Kurahasa, were you able to unlock your family's hidden secret? Judy knew exactly what he was saying. No, not yet. Feeling uncomfortable, Kurahasa decided to change the subject. So, I got plenty more D-ranked missions for Team 4. That reminds me, I have something else to ask you, said Judy. Team 4's mentor is going to be out of the hospital in a week, and I was wondering if there will be any B-ranked missions available by then. Kurahasa tapped his claws on the desk. I'm afraid there won't be for you. He glanced at Bogo, who gave Kurahasa a mean look. Bogo is holding all of the B-ranked missions. He what? Judy spun around and angrily approached Bogo. Sir, are you holding the B-ranked missions from me? I just thought your talents are better suited elsewhere, said Bogo, taking off the headphones. Sir, I'm not just some token bunny, said Judy. I worked hard to get where I am, and I deserve to have the same missions as other Chunin. Sorry, but life isn't some shonen manga where the protagonist goes from a nobody to a hero in just 72 tankobon. Is that so? Challenged Judy. Believe it, answered Bogo, and I don't want to hear another word about it. Before Judy could object further, he put his headphones back on. Furious, Judy stormed out the door where Team 4 was waiting. I can't believe that. Bullheaded jerk, seethed Judy under her breath, trying not to swear in front of the genin. Just who does he think he is telling me how to do my job? Yeah, well, get used to it, said Jaku. Surely there's something that can be done, said Sukai. Maybe we can talk to Ryanado-sama into intervening. Judy hesitated, Niku's words resonating in her head. I don't think he will help. I don't think anybody will help me. We know the feeling, said Ani. We never get C-ranked missions. Really? Asked Judy. Why not? The truth is we look up to you because we don't feel confident in ourselves, said Ani. We're the lowest scored students in our class, said Jaku. To make matters worse, before you came along, there had never been a rabbit to earn the rank of Chunin. And there are no foxes among the Chunin either, said Sukai. So not only do we suck, but we too are also discriminated for our species. And everybody thinks I'm crazy, said Ani. The point is, said Jaku, we never had much belief in ourselves until you came along. You give us hope. Judy felt moved by their words, but also ashamed for her thoughtlessness. She had no idea they felt this way, and she felt a twinge of guilt for thinking of only herself. You shouldn't look down on yourselves, she finally said. You three are more capable than you give yourselves credit. But how are we supposed to prove ourselves if all we get are D-ranked missions? Asked Sukai. Give me a minute, said Judy. I think I know what to do. She walked back into the room. She eyed Bogo, who was now talking to a group of deer about a mission. She walked up to Kurahasa, who was munching on Pocky. Hey, Kurahasa-kun, I was wondering, if you can't give me any B-ranked missions, then what about C-ranked missions for Team 4? That's probably not a good idea, said Kurahasa. Those kids aren't exactly the cat's meow. I don't know if I can give them a C-ranked mission. Judy gave him a stern look. Those kids are never going to improve if nobody will allow them to be challenged. Come on, Kurahasa-kun, just one C-ranked mission is all I ask. Kurahasa glanced at Bogo, who was seeing the deer off on their mission. He looked down at Judy, pointed to her, then made a zipping hand gesture over his mouth, silently telling her to be quiet. I'm sorry, Hapusu-senpai, said Kurahasa, loud enough so Bogo could hear. I can't help you. Kurahasa put his paws together and built up his chakra. Judy knew Kurahasa enough to know that he wasn't the best ninja, especially at his current weight, but one skill he was good at was genjutsu. Bogo-san, please report to the Jonin standby station, said a voice over the intercom. Bogo-san, please report to the Jonin standby station. The voice wasn't real. It was all an illusion created by Kurahasa. Bogo fell for it and he walked off and out of the room. Kurahasa watched as Bogo left, and as soon as Bogo was gone, Kurahasa spun around in his swivel chair and searched the file cabinets. He managed to find a C-ranked mission in a manila folder, and he put the folder onto the desk. I got a C-ranked mission authorized by Ryanato-sama himself, said Kurahasa. There are 3 ambassadors visiting Zootopia tomorrow. 2 are from the land of wetlands, and 1 is from the land of caves. You and the genin are to meet them at the south gate and act as their bodyguards and chaperones while going to their suite downtown, protecting them from pickpockets and hecklers. Does that sound like a good mission? Judy was on her toes with excitement. It's perfect. Thank you, Kurahasa-kun. It's my pleasure. Judy grabbed the folder and ran off with it tucked under her arm. Judy needed a quiet place to share the mission with the other genin. The closest place was the Zootopia library. She found an empty table, read the documents to them, and then asked the genin if they had any questions. Yeah, I have a question, said Jaku. Why are the ambassadors coming here? Excuse me, said Judy. And what is the land of caves and the land of wetlands? I've never heard of these places. Judy looked at Jaku, confused. I just explained to you that the ambassadors are coming here to negotiate plans to integrate the land of caves and the land of wetlands as part of the land of Crossroads' government. As for what those lands are, they're smaller nations south of here. I understand that, but I don't understand why they would want to be a part of the land of Crossroads' government. Sukai rolled her eyes. Forgive Jaku-kun, he fell asleep during the history lessons at the academy. Well, then would you like to educate him? Asked Judy. I would. Sukai ran off to an aisle and brought back a large atlas she retrieved from the shelves. She slammed the book onto the table and opened it up, revealing a large map of the surrounding lands. All of the lands were marked in kanji that designated their names. Kosaden no Kuni. The land of Crossroads was in the center of the map as a small angular dot. Surrounding the land of Crossroads was Mori no Kuni. The land of forests which wrapped around the north and west ends, Sabaku no Kuni. The land of deserts wrapped around the south and east ends, and Ana no Kuni. The land of burrows was directly south, wedged between the land of deserts and the land of forests. In the far north was Kori no Kuni. The land of ice. In the far south was Mitsuran no Kuni. The land of jungles. Our world is dominated by 5 major nations, explained Sukai, which are the lands of ice, burrows, forests, deserts, and jungles. These lands have their own ninja villages that house and train the ninja that protect their lands. However, for millennia, there has been constant strife between the 5 nations, making travel, trade, and diplomacy between the lands difficult or even impossible during times of war. However, in between the 5 major nations was a plot of land, which was, at the time, an unlivable wasteland. This wasteland became a common place for travelers, criminals, and exiled clans to pass through or inhabit in spite of the land's inhospitable conditions. In a rare move of mutual cooperation, the 5 nations banded together and created a sovereign state in this wasteland, existing as a crossroads and a neutral land for all 5 of the nations. According to the treaties, the land of Crossroads and all routes to and from the land allows safe passage for travelers, traders, and diplomats, even during times of war. However, in order to protect itself and uphold the agreements of the treaties, it was agreed to create a ninja village in the land of Crossroads, known as the Hidden Village of Zootopia. Very good, said Judy. You know your history. Thank you, sensei, said Sukai, giving Judy a wide toothy smile. But where is the land of caves and the land of wetlands? Asked Ani. With one finger, Sukai directed their attention to a small sliver of land next to the land of burrows. It was called Dokutsu no Kuni. The land of caves. Sukai flipped through the book to a page that showed a closer map of the land of caves. Marked with a dot in the center of the land was a place called Gakogakure no Sato. The village hidden in the moonlight. The land of caves is home to bats, said Sukai, and their ninja live in the village hidden in the moonlight. Further south, near the land of jungles, is the land of wetlands. Sukai flipped the pages to another map, this time showing Shichi no Kuni. The land of wetlands. Near the northern end was Namagakure no Sato. The village hidden in the swamp. The land of wetlands is the home of reptiles and amphibians, and their ninja live in the village hidden in the swamp. These two lands are much smaller and less prominent than the other nations, and were not a part of the negotiations that created the land of crossroads. Ani jabbed Jakku in the ribs because he looked like he was falling asleep. Okay, so what are they coming here for? Asked Jakku. This time, Judy spoke. The land of caves and the land of wetlands do not have a political or financial presence in the land of crossroads, and thus don't gain the benefits of it. The ambassadors are here to negotiation integrating their lands into the land of crossroads' government so they too can have trade and travel through our lands. Now that's done, does anybody have any questions? Oh no, I'm good, said Jakku in response to his growing headache from the lecture. Good. We meet at the south gate tomorrow morning, said Judy, feeling pleased with herself. Dismissed. The next day, they met outside of the south gate. It was a large wooden entrance with animals of all sorts coming and going through the doorway, passing by the gate guards who checked the travelers' papers and passports before leaving or entering the city. Sukai was so excited she could barely stand still. Thank you so much, Sensei. We are finally going to have our first C-ranked mission. None of the ambassadors are sheep, right? Asked Ani. I doubt sheep live in dark caves and dirty swamps, said Jakku. Don't worry, I'm sure the ambassadors will be friendly, said Judy. How will we recognize the ambassadors when we see them? Asked Ani. I think that's one of them right there, said Judy. Emerging from the crowds, they saw a bat taking flight over the heads of the animals and landing in front of Judy. The bat was specifically a flying fox. When she landed on the ground in front of them, she was so tall, she actually met Judy at eye level. Like any flying fox, she had leathery black wings, pumpkin orange fur, large round eyes, a long snout, and long pointed ears. She wore a dark blue ninja garb that was made to fit tightly around her wings and webbed tail. Instead of a headband, she wore a metal plate that was attached to the chest of her suit. The symbol on the metal plate was a waxing moon with black to fill in the shadow, the symbol of the village hidden in the moonlight. Are you Aotsuki K-san? Asked Judy. Yes, I am, said Aotsuki, swooping in closer to examine Judy's face. Welcome to Zootopia, said Judy. I'm Hapusu Judy. Where are the ambassadors from the land of wetlands? They're right behind me, said Aotsuki, still sniffing Judy. She abruptly slid over to examine the genin, first grabbing Ani by her cheeks and pinching them with her clawed wing fingers. Ani could only stand there, confused. Nice teeth on this one, said Aotsuki to herself. What do you think, mother? You're right. This one is in good health. Judy looked on, confused. This is Team 4. They will be helping you safely get to your suite. Aotsuki didn't respond to Judy, preferring instead to approach Sukai and examined her. Their noses were nearly touching. A fox. Not very strong, but has good teeth and good night vision. I agree, mother. I like her already. Aotsuki glided over to Jakku. Oh damn, another rabbit. Mother, this is an embarrassment. What do you mean, an embarrassment? Demanded Jakku. And who are you talking to? Aotsuki reached behind her and pulled out a wakizashi that was strapped to her back. I only carry the weapons of my ancestors. This blade belonged to my grandmother, and it was passed down to my mother, and it was passed down to me. Their souls are now inside the blade of this wakizashi, and they tell me that they don't think 2 rabbits are sufficient protection. Well, excuse me, snapped Jakku. I'm not thrilled to being insulted by a sword. My father doesn't approve of you, either. Is your father in your shuriken? No, his soul is in my kunai. And I think we found a mammal crazier than Ani-chan. While Aotsuki and Jakku talked, Judy noticed a wide-mouthed frog and an alligator coming toward them. The frog hopped up to Judy. His body was rust red, his bulbous eyes gazed at her like he'd never seen a rabbit before, and his webbed feet clenched the dry ground as if worrying he was going to slip. When he was within arm's length of Judy, he stood up straight with a dignity that contradicted the way he hopped like an animal. He wore a yellow kimono that was decorated in orange embroidery in the shape of dragons. He wore his headband around his neck like a necklace. The plate had a symbol that resembled a stick figure of a four-fingered hand with webbing. It was the symbol of the village hidden in the swamps. "Welcome to Zootopia, Shitako Kato-san," said Judy, politely bowing. "This place is so dirty," complained Shitako, brushing off dirt from his kimono. "Do you mammals like to roll in your own filth?" He pulled out an aerosol spray and sprayed it into the air. "I only just got here, and I already feel like I'm going to puke from the stench." "But don't you live in a swamp?" asked Sukai. "Please forgive their bluntness," said the alligator. "These two are rarely impressed, and they never miss a chance to let others know it. My name is Kumawana Ren. Shitako and I are ambassadors of the land of wetlands." Kumawana bowed to Judy, and she responded in kind. Kumawana was a large alligator, standing tall over the other animals. He had charcoal gray scales with a tail hanging low to the ground and a long snout. Rather than typical ninja gear, he wore a full-body oyoroi consisting of a red cuirass made of nylon and metal plating as well as various other plates along the arms and legs. All of it was topped with a kabuto helmet. The symbol of the village hidden in the swamp was engraved on the front of his cuirass. He looked more like a samurai than a ninja. "I welcome having 2 rabbits, a fox, and a honey badger as our bodyguards," said Kumawana. "At least someone is open-minded," said Jaku. Sukai poked him in the ribs. "Don't be rude to our guests." "It's okay," said Kumawana with a wide smile on his long, toothy snout. "I always support animals who rebel against the status quo. It sparks innovation and change after all." "Change can be scary, though," said Jaku, "and not always good." "True, but when your crop dies, the logical thing to do is burn it all down and start over." "My parents would say that," said Jaku, although they probably meant that literally. "I take it you must be from a farming family." "Yes, sir, but we mostly work for other animals." Kumawana knelt down to as close to Jaku's eye level as he could. "And here you are as a ninja instead of a farmer. You're braver than you give yourself credit." Jaku was feeling bashful, having never been complimented like this. It's not that big of a deal." "Never forget, the world is changed with drive and conviction," said Kumawana. "Never be afraid to take chances to do what's right." "I will, sir," said Jaku. "It's an honor to have you with us," said Judy, "and we can share stories about our villages along the way." "We shall," said Kumawana. "Please, lead the way." Although Aotsuki and Shitako were quiet, Kumawana was highly sociable, sharing stories and happily engaging with the genin. Several animals who were not used to seeing an alligator, a frog, and a bat in one place stared at the 3 of them as they walked by along the busy streets of the downtown area. "Is that true?" asked Kumawana. "Did you really manage to fix a boiler seconds before it exploded?" "Well, more like minutes," said Sukai, fiddling with a wrench in her pocket. "Minutes?" asked Kumawana. "Maybe an hour or 2, said Sukai, blushing. "Seconds, minutes, hours, what does it matter?" said Kumawana, rapping his scaly claw on Sukai's shoulder. "Next time we have a clogged sink, we know who to call," said Jaku. Ani looked to Aotsuki and Shitako, who said nothing the whole way. "So, can you 2 tell me more about your villages, Aotsuki-san, Shitako-san?" said Ani. When they didn't speak, Kumawana spoke up. "Come on you 2, don't be so quiet. We're in front of guests." Aotsuki took a moment to think of a response. "I'll admit, when I'm not practicing my swordsmanship, I do like to stargaze. Bats take comfort in the stillness of the night. My family in particular was known as the Yawatashi Boshi, the ones passing the night stars. My family lives on a high-rise house on the outskirts of the swamp," said Shitako, casually hopping around larger animals going the opposite direction. "I'm not used to having so many animals around in one place. I'm also not used to not having a boat to get around in." The land of Crossroads is supposed to be a place where all animals are supposed to cohabitate, but it doesn't have enough waterway for my people. Well, you don't have to walk any further because we just arrived, said Judy. They stopped in front of an ornate building. The sign up top read, "The Lion's Den Inn," chiseled onto a wooden sign. Oh, finally, said Shitako. I needed a long shower. Don't take too long, again, said Aotsuki. We have a concert to get to. Concert? Asked Jaku. We got tickets to Gazaru-san's concert tonight, said Kumawana. Are you kids coming? None of us have tickets, said Judy. I hoped you would say that because I got 4 extra tickets just for you, said Kumawana. I wanted to leave it as a surprise. That's nice of you to offer, said Judy, feeling flustered by the offer, but we were only hired to take you to your suite. I can pay for the extra hours, said Kumawana. A free Gazaru-san concert, said Judy, struggling to control her excitement. Yes, we would love to. I'm not a fan of Gazaru-san, said Jaku. Don't worry, my boy, said Kumawana with a sly wink. I promise you tonight won't be uneventful.